First and foremost, thank you so much for taking some time for us again.
That's a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to have you on, and with another new effort. Look at this, Winter Stories, and coincidentally, you're back from Europe where it must have really been winter as opposed to Hawaii. What are some fun winter stories you can share?
This was quite an amazing event. I was introduced to Jonas Fjeld, who's a Norwegian singer, a few years ago. And about a year and a half ago, it was suggested that we make a record with a group that he has recorded with. They're a bluegrass group called the Chatham County Line. Wonderful, wonderful group from Raleigh, North Carolina. So we got together, plotted and talked and passed around a few ideas about songs and came up with what became Winter Stories, the album on my label, I might add, and it has received the Billboard chart #1 position from its release in November of this past year, a couple of months ago. Also, we've been nominated for a Grammy, for a Norwegian Grammy for the album. We've sung it a lot. We did a lot of shows in Norway and also in New York. And in Norway at the Opera House in Oslo, we did the show twice, and it was recorded for PBS. So everybody's going to get to see this show and Winter Stories. And so it's very exciting, and I will be singing some of the songs from the album at the Blue Note.
Are you going to rehearse and learn how to do your acceptance speech in Norwegian should you win the Norwegian?
Never. One doesn't have to speak any Norwegian, thank God. Everybody in Norway very smartly speaks English and understands every joke, so that's an advantage.
I can imagine. And was it really chilly? What was it like on the temperature side?
Oh, it's not bad. It's never bad. You know, I'm a New Yorker, so I'm very used to fluctuating winter temperatures, so I don't mind.
So no snow on your Winter Stories winter tour of Europe, huh?
No, not well. It
Wow.
was snowed when we got to Norway, and but it was chilly. But then it got warmish, you know, as it does in climates where there was snow, and then
Yeah, it's hit or miss.
On the other hand, climate change has made, well, I would say irregularity in the weather anyway.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Plus, I remember when I lived in Boston, sometimes you'd have those stray days. It'd be in the 70s in February or something. So weird stuff does happen.
And then snow in April.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So it doesn't have to really be winter for you to be over there doing your Winter Stories tour. And now, when you mentioned the Blue Note, and that's where your gigs are at here in town, have you played any of the other Blue Notes around the world?
I don't know, probably.
Okay, so
I don't know.
Not sure. I don't think you've played this one, to the best of my knowledge.
No, this will be my first time.
Okay, that one we know for sure. The others, it's possible. It could go either way. And what's the show going to be like? Give folks a little, because each time you have a different kind of theme going on with yourself. What can we expect?
We will expect some of the hits, of course. Both Sides Now, Someday Soon, Amazing Grace, maybe Send in the Clowns. But of course, sprinkled into the rest of the show will be some of the songs from Winter Stories,
right,
and some of my new songs, and a lot of stories. So I think we'll have a good time.
You're going to pepper in some actual storytelling, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Which is a fun thing for folks.
Yeah.
And you said newer than that record. So you've got brand new stuff not even released yet.
Oh, yes, a number of songs that have not been released. I'm working on an album of my own material, which I think I'm going to record sometime in the summer and release in the fall or early 2021. But I'm singing a lot of those songs in my shows, so that'll be interesting.
You still doing any work with Stephen Stills? What's the status on that?
We did 115 shows in a year and a half. And we finished up last year, so we're free as a breeze right now. This coming summer, I'll be touring with Arlo Guthrie, which would be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I saw there's a little thing about that. And I see in the last few months you've been running into all kinds of old friends and some folks I've never seen you with. I saw you with Bill and Hillary Clinton in both October and June. It looks like you ran into them.
Yes, we had the one in June was a big program, which was a fundraiser for the Irish Rep in New York, which is a theater that does a lot of Irish plays. And then there was a celebration of politics, you might say, in New York, and there was a big party where we all showed up. So, yeah, we see them from time to time, and it's great fun.
They still have all kinds of, you would imagine with the two of them, and they're both have done so much stuff that security is kind of like double level security. Do they have a whole bunch of security around them still?
They do, and I know a lot of them by name.
Exactly. Because and so do you, and other than those times of taking pictures, are you seeing them more frequently than that? Like when there weren't pictures to document it, or are those the two times that you've most recently seen them?
We have a social life, too, in New York, like everybody else does. And pictures aside, we see a lot of people from time to time.
So you see those two, though, I'm saying, more often than just those couple of times.
We've seen them many times. You know, I sang at Clinton's inaugural, and for about 8 years, my husband and I walked in and out of the White House like it was home. So we have a very nice friendship of long standing.
And never jammed with him on the sax, though.
Well, we've tried it. I mean, he was playing when I was singing at his inaugural ball, so.
Oh,
yeah.
So you did jam with him on the sax.
Oh, yes.
Well, and that's pretty cool because I don't think any other presidents have sat in with Judy Collins, or have they? And
we keep some secrets for the memoirs.
Right, you got to make a buck off of that somewhere. Smart lady over there. I also saw you with Aerosmith's Steven Tyler. What a nice photograph.
Oh, yes. What fun. Steven Tyler and I and Jimmy Page and Buddy Guy. There's a photograph of us I will treasure forever and ever. And we had a great event at the Metropolitan Museum in New York, and a phenomenal dinner the day before. So we spent time. We had a great weekend, and that was very special.
Did you guys play live together at the event, or is it not that kind of thing?
We didn't play live, but Smokey Robinson did a half hour for us.
Nice.
And then the next day, Buddy Guy sang for us. And actually, Buddy Guy and we are working with Buddy's producer to find out a time to do a song with him. So nice. I'm hoping that works out over the summer.
That's neat how things like that come together. And had you ever seen Aerosmith live in concert, Judy, through the years?
No.
Wow.
I knew their manager very well.
Tim Collins?
And Tim Collins. And I was, I'm always busy working. What can I tell you?
Was Tim's no relation to you, I'm assuming?
No, but he is a very good friend. He and I have had a lovely friendship for a lot of years.
And you mentioned Jimmy Page. That's another picture. If people go to Judy's Facebook page when they're taking a look at stuff, you'll see the Led Zeppelin guitar player there. Had you ever seen Led Zeppelin or interacted with Jimmy before?
Again, it was not my music. And I am now fans of those bands because now I know what the hell they're doing. Jimmy Page was so charming, and he took us on a tour through the show at the Metropolitan Museum, which was called Play It Loud, which contained a lot of the guitars from many, many artists. And he took us through a tour of dates and times and shows where these guitars were featured in around the world. He's a lovely man too.
What a cool thing for you to get to
just fabulous.
That really is. And I saw another thing that I think just equally as cool. We talked about Stephen Stills from CSN, who you obviously have had very tight relationship through the years, and you did that recent project with. But you also, I see, had a nice recent photo with Graham Nash.
Well, Graham and I, and of course Stephen, have known each other forever. And of course, Stephen and I had an affair in 1968, but managed to stay friends all that time. And it's like a school reunion, really.
It looks like that. It looks like that. But one
Yeah.
of the things that really made me curious when looking at these pictures, something I had never noticed before, and I kept thinking, is that just a trick of the light? But as I kept looking, it looked like a swallow or some kind of bird tattoo on your left
Oh,
hand. What is that?
yes. Yes, I have a tattoo of a swallow on my left wrist and the name of my son on the underside of that
Wow.
wrist. And, my son took his life in
Yep.
1992, and we miss him every day still. And I had a friend who lost a son to suicide not too long ago, and she said to me, "Do you want to go down to Tony's tattoo artist? I'm going to get his name on my wrist." And I said, "Sure." And so we both went down to get our boys' names tattooed on our wrists, and I just improved the situation by seeing if Chris Garver, who is the tattoo artist, could do a swallow for me. He came up with a beauty.
Amazing. It's a great tribute. It's a great story, and really is an impressive looking thing. When you say do you have any others, or is that
No,
that's enough?
that's a year old, and that's enough. Well,
Right.
at this point, I'm not against it in any way. I've thought of it. I wear a necklace that says "resist," and I was in touch with Alan Cumming there recently, and he has an email that says "resist" and "insist," and I think I might get that tattooed somewhere.
Oh, you know how it is. It could be like they say it's kind of addictive. Then
It
you'll come
is,
up with
yeah,
another one after that. Well,
yeah,
maybe there I have, and
exactly.
then maybe it'd be like Yorma from Jefferson Airplane and Hot Tuna. He just
Yes.
has a ton of those things. And finally, before we go to wrap it up, because it's going to be fun having you back in town, but I see as we are in 'tis the season, I guess one could say. We mentioned the other political connection, but I see there was photos of you and Mike Bloomberg at something, and you're saying "Happy Birthday, Mike" is the caption to it. What was that all about?
Well, I'm a New Yorker, and Bloomberg, of course, was our mayor, and I have personal connections, friends, family, situations in which we find ourselves, and so I probably know him pretty well in terms of comparisons with other people who are running. And I like Mike. Mike did an incredible job for the city of New York, and as a human being, he has imperfections that he is not ashamed or too proud to talk about. But the fact is that the city shines, and the city is a great city, and under his mayorship increased in, well, for instance, we gained in overall longevity. We picked up 3 years during his legacy, and we have many, many things in New York that are the result of his brilliance and his ability to lead and to organize people to do the right thing. I mean, he was even involved in diets because he was ahead of the curve.
Sodas.
We quit the smoking in the city basically under his tutelage, and then he began to attack all of the sugared drinks
Yep.
that are making people fat, obese, and killing them. And although he didn't succeed in his overall plan, it brought something to mind that is terribly important. So he's a man who thinks on many different levels. He's a very good coordinator, an excellent leader, and I think he'll make he's already shown a lot of his expertise and has brought out the examples of what he has done and what he could do.
Sounds like he's got your vote.
So we have a blind vote in our country where we get to fill the ballot box with secret ballots. And so we'll all find out who gets to run against this president that is in office now, tearing down every institution that we know and love.
Well, whoever it is, I doubt that they're going to have the ability to jam with you like Bill Clinton did. But who knows? You never know.
That's true.
One never
Well,
knows.
the one who's in there now can whistle in the dark, but I won't be singing along.
You're funny. She's this weekend at the Blue Note. Hope you had fun being back on the show. It was a lot of fun having you.
Wonderful. I love it. I love it. So take care of yourself and have a great day. Hey, it's Judy Collins. I'm back for the pledge drive at HPR. It's always a treat to be on the show with my buddy, Dave Lawrence. And it's always a treat to say mahalo to our members. Please join them in supporting the station, and thank you.
You're awesome. Hugs and high fives. Be safe.
Okay, dear, mahalo.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.